Much for coming on. Boots to Books has wanted to have an event devoted to military spouses for a long time. Something that's really special about this event is we have a smaller group, so we're going to be able to answer any of your questions, and we'll be able to build our networks a little bit. We can drop our LinkedIn's. Tom will let you know how to ask questions if you have them. The chat is disabled. We are so sorry about that. We had Zoom bombers last December, and so now we take every precaution. We can't have nice things. It's sad. But we do what we can. So Tom's going to drop an email, shoot any questions there. We'll make sure we answer them. But to give you a little bit of an overview of how the event's going to look today, I'm going to give you an intro to Boots to Books, tell you about some scholarships, hiring fairs, live events coming up, and some other resources we have. Then I'm going to kick it off to Stacy, who's going to talk a little bit about making your transition, finding what it is you truly want to do, and some resources available to you. Then we're going to give it to Brenna, who's a recruiting director at Seven Eagle Group, who will talk a little bit about the other side of the desk, some recruiters' advice, standing out in the job search and what you can do, especially as a military spouse. And then finally, I'll talk a little bit about starting your own venture. I'll share a little bit about my experience with Boots to Books, and then what I've seen consulting for other companies, and just best practices. And then we'll take any questions. So don't hesitate to shoot those in as well. Without further ado, the organization putting this on is Boots to Books. Hopefully you've heard of us before. If not, Tom will drop some pertinent links so you can keep in touch with us. What we do is a variety of things, from scholarships so that you can go get textbooks, get professional certifications, get test preparation, all the way to live events like this, where we go over job seeker skills like interviewing, the resume, or just a panel devoted to success like this, whether you want to start a business or get hired. We also have hiring fairs. It's not announced yet, but because you guys came, I want to tell you we're going to have one June 16th. These hiring fairs are really special because the only people who are allowed to come are those from the military community. So you are all, please, please, please come. You're encouraged to come. The companies that'll be there range from huge companies like Accenture and Adobe, all the way to small, exciting startups. So there's an industry, a company size, and a location and a role for everyone. Which is really exciting. And the last thing I'm going to plug before I stop talking and kick it off to who you came here to see is the Boots to Books Transition Masterclass. Tom, this is the last link I'm going to ask you to drop for a little bit. I promise.
It's already there.
Oh my gosh, see this? What am I even here for anymore? So the Boots to Books Transition Masterclass is a video course that has over 100 videos taught by recruiters, founders, VA counselors, higher education counselors, and a whole mix of other people. There's project managers, HR consultants, you name it, there's someone there. And really what this transition masterclass does is it breaks down every pain point you face in the transition. So whether you're looking at getting higher education, getting a professional certification, starting a business, getting a job, using your benefits, looking after your mental health, making a financial plan, there is a pertinent expert there for you and follow-on resources, and it is completely free. So please sign up for that. Also, we might do a giveaway at the end of this event. I think we have a little bit of certifications that we have in, I guess, inventory is the way to put it. I believe we have a Lean Six Sigma belt and a Scrum Master certification, as well as a couple project management ones. They're CPO certifications. So I'll talk about that at the very end for those who stick with us. But without further ado, Tom, I'm going to mute myself. I'm going to hand it off to you. If you would be so kind as to introduce Stacy, or if Shamiri is doing it. I actually have no idea who wants to do it. I'll organize
I got it in front of me. All right, well, we have Stacy Gordon. She's a military transition coach and life skills educator, helping clients to feel safe, seen, supported, and successful as they create big wins and a roadmap for holistic success to thrive in academic, career, business, entrepreneurship, and life during transition and beyond military service. Named the Mr. Rogers of the veteran community by a Marine Corps veteran for the social connection, emotional intelligence, unconditional support, listening ear, friendship, and resource. Sorry, I said that wrong. A listening ear and friendship and resources and tools she shares. Stacy is the former New Jersey public school teacher of students currently serving in the U.S. Army, U.S. Air Force, and U.S. Marines with a direct connection to the military as a daughter of a U.S. Army Reserve veteran and granddaughter of a World War II Marine. A professional educator trained in helping military children find their SPARC, strength, potential, aspiration, resourcefulness, and confidence. And the and the Medal of Honor Character Development Program for Courage, Commitment, Citizenship, Sacrifice, Integrity, and Patriotism. That is a mouthful. Stacy is also a regular participant in the Vesta Industry Virtual Networking Circuits and a volunteer mentor with the American Corporate Partners, ACP, serving active duty service members, veterans, and military spouses, and the West Point Admissions Field Force Team for high school students and prior service soldiers. Stacy's cadet candidates have graduated from the United States Military Academy, United States Naval Academy, and the United States Air Force Academy, and are leaders in the U.S. Army, Air Force, and Marines, and Space Force. A certified life mastery consultant, transformational life coach, and speaker serving a global audience, Stacy holds a Bachelor in Arts in Business Admin with a marketing concentration and an elementary education certification from, I'm going to butcher this, Muhlenberg College. Go, Stacy.
All right, thanks everybody. Peter, should I share my screen now or?
Perfect. Whatever you want. You should have the permission to do so. If you don't, let me know.
What? Okay, using my PowerPoint.
We can see it.
Okay. Whoops. Okay, you can see that, okay, correct? All right, thank you. And why this is really important. So I went to Muhlenberg College, and the year of 9/11 is really what rooted my passion for our military community. And it took me 15 years, 15 years of an elementary just teaching career to now serve the military community. So thank you for this opportunity. And I'd like to say welcome to Success Military Spouses. I'm so excited to be spending this time with you tonight. So my job is to help you feel safe, seen, supported, celebrated, and successful, especially during Military Appreciation Month. And our objectives tonight are to teach, educate, honor, and empower you with knowledge, personal growth, and self-development tools and resources to be confident in your transition to civilian life and beyond, and also to build social connection and emotional support while helping you find your passion, purpose, clarity, and direction. Now, our agenda for tonight is we're going to do a little bit of exercise in relaxation and mindfulness and helping you be present. Success looks different for everyone. Time management and mindset, career vision, your 90-year legacy, and a Mil-Spouse resource gallery that I put together for you, and then some bonuses. So in a few minutes, we're going to take some deep breaths. And before we do that, I just wanted to make everybody aware of the Veterans Crisis Line. That is for those who are serving, for those family members who are serving as well, and anybody that is connected with the military community that might need a little bit of encouragement and support. Just know that you are not alone. And Medal of Honor recipient Roger Donlin always reminds us to stay strong in mind, body, and spirit, and to ask for help. It's a sign of strength to ask for help. And something I'd like to remind you is one of my favorite quotes, it's peace. It does not mean to be in a place where there is no noise, trouble, or hard work. It means to be in the midst of all of those things and still be calm in your heart. And I want to remind you to live your dash. Okay, so let's take 3 deep breaths together just to ground yourself in this evening's event and to just create some safe space for you right now. So if you'd like, you can either close your eyes or just lower your gaze and just breathe in 1. Breathe out. Breathe in 2. Breathe out. Breathe in 3. Breathe out. Okay. Now, if this is how you might be feeling right now, I want you to know that it's okay. You are not alone, and we are here with you. This is now your Boots to Books family. And always remember that life is a team effort, and together everyone achieves more. Now, May is Military Appreciation Month. It's Military Spouse Appreciation Day and Mental Health Awareness Month. And it's really important that you know that mental health is essential to everyone's overall health and well-being. And mental illnesses are actually not common, and they are treatable. There are practical tools that everyone can use to improve their mental health and increase resiliency, no matter where you are in your life, regardless of the situations that you might be dealing with. One such example is deep breathing, like we just did a few moments ago. Also, knowing when to turn to friends and family and coworkers when you are struggling with life's challenges can help improve your mental health. Again, this is your Boots to Books family, and it's important to accept the situations in life that we cannot change. Actively work to process the mental struggles associated with big changes, manage anger and frustration, recognize when trauma may be affecting your mental health, challenge negative thinking patterns, and make time to take care of yourself. And some of this is just a read aloud, so I am just going to be reading the content to you so you can just kind of sit back and relax and just take some time and space for yourself. Something else I want to make you aware of are the 8 dimensions of wellness, and that was put out by SAMHSA, which is the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Now, I know that occupation is a really big thing, especially in military transition, career, but there are 7 other pieces of wellness that need to be addressed and you made aware of. And that's social, emotional, spiritual, intellectual, physical, environmental, financial, and then of course, career, occupational. And it's really important that you are aware that success looks totally different for everyone. We're all unique, just like your fingerprints, and success is unique for everyone. And one of my favorite quotes that I like to share is by Jack Canfield, who is the co-creator of Chicken Soup for the Soul. And he always says, success leaves clues. So pay attention to organizations that are helping you move forward, to interests that you have that you're gaining traction on. Success leaves clues. And again, you'll get there, and just stay positive. And I want to remind you that you rock. And just so you know, these are some of the quotes that I shared with my students in our classroom for 15 years. Those students are now in high school, college, military service, the workforce, and still reach back to let me know that they keep that positive mindset with them as they are now leaders in their life. Also, anyone can be cool, but awesome takes practice. And from courtesy of advice from one of my former students, if plan A doesn't work out, there are 25 other letters in the alphabet, so it's okay. And always stay positive, no matter what. And yes, you've got this. And of course, as we said earlier, together, everyone achieves more. Success is a team sport. Now, I also want to make you aware that yes, you can do everything, just not at the same time. So remember that. Yes, you can do everything, just not at the same time. Sometimes you might have to be a little bit creative with your time. Now, many years ago, there was a movie starring Dolly Parton that was called 9 to 5. It was about the typical workday. And a few years ago, a Super Bowl commercial for Squarespace, she was telling people how to get creative by working the 5 to 9 shift. And I know Peter is going to talk about entrepreneurship later on, but Dolly Parton actually has a fabulous book on entrepreneurship called What Would Dolly Do? And these are the lyrics from her commercial. Well, you got dreams and you know they matter. Be your own boss, climb your own ladder. Parton sings in the redo, which she shared, Frustration, original to the DIY inspiration. Working 5 to 9, making something of your own now. And it feels so fine. Build a business from your know-how. Gonna move ahead, and there's nothing that you can't do when you listen to that little voice inside of you. So again, You can do everything, just not at the same time, and you have to be a little bit creative. And also, sometimes when there's so much going on, it's important to triage and think of what's immediate, what's important, and then what is routine. Again, you can do everything, just not at the same time. Now, something you have to think about is how to break big tasks down into easily digestible chunks. And I've heard it said before, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So I would always say to my students, how would you eat a chocolate elephant? One bite at a time. And as a gift for you, everybody is actually going to get a journal page to help you figure out what your priorities and which bites you should be working on at a time. Another thing that's really important is calendarizing your tasks, your goals, your action plan. So everybody is going to get a calendar template as well. And I want you to notice at the top left, there is a picture of me. And then and I'll explain that in a second, but the middle is a proverb: fall down 7 times, get up 8. And then of course, on the right side is the Veterans Crisis Line, which has hot links. So if anybody needs it, you can just click. And going back here, the reason I've included that picture on the top of every page in the header is because it's social connection, and it might be somebody's picture on a piece of paper, but I can tell you that on some of my darkest days, seeing some of my new veteran friends in this community are the ones that helped me get through my own human experience of transition and transformation. Something else I've also included as a gift for you is a task pad where you can write down your notes and ideas and a checklist for you to do, in your career, your job search, your personal life, your financial health. But I've also included a blank one. So you can think about what action steps are most meaningful for you. And down here, there's actually another quote that I like. It's called "Ask the right questions. Get the right answers." And if you ask yourself the central question, which is what choice can I make and action can I take in this moment to create the greatest net value? Sometimes it might be studying for a test, or it might be applying for a job, or in this moment, you might actually just need to go for a walk just to catch your breath to recharge. So I want to remind you that it's choice, not chance, that determines your destiny as you are working through your very important and very simple, yet not so simple, to-do list. Recreate yourself, be awesome, and achieve success. Now, I'd like to teach you something called the results formula, because everything is rooted in your thoughts. Your thoughts lead to your feelings lead to your actions, and your actions lead to your results. And if you are putting negative thoughts, cloudy thoughts into your brain, you're not going to feel so great. And then you're not going to act as energized or focused as you potentially could. And your results are not going to be as fabulous as they could be if you change your thoughts. So again, change your thoughts, change your life. And that's our bright sun reminding you that you've got this, you can do this. So again, if you change your thoughts, you're going to feel much better, which is going to make your actions better, and then your results as well. And again, success looks very different to everybody. 2 essential questions that you can ask yourself to change your state immediately if you're kind of feeling down is, what am I proud of? And what am I grateful for? So showing gratitude. And you're going to need to ask yourself, what do I need to start doing to feel more proud or more grateful? And what do I need to stop doing? And here's some quotes for you. Be confident in who you are and who you are meant to be. And an affirmation is, every day I am learning to make more courageous choices that work for me and those I love. And it's important that you understand that actually confidence is a skill that can be learned. So be confident is an acrostic on the left side. Be your own role model, express yourself, Challenge yourself. Only your opinions about you matter. No more negative self-talk. Forgive your mistakes. I am awesome. And you can even say that in the mirror and it'll help. Don't waste energy comparing yourself to somebody else. It's a total waste of energy. Only compare yourself to where you were the minute before, the hour before, the day before, the week before, as long as you are making progress. Excellence, not perfection. No part of you left behind. Be excited to share your natural gifts with the world. And talents, discover your talents, use your talents, and just know that you have a lot of transferable skills from being military spouse and some of the work or even maybe volunteer efforts that you might have been a part of to the workforce beyond your time and your family's time in service. Here's another quote for you. Remember, you have been criticizing yourself for years and it hasn't worked. So try approving of yourself and see what happens. And sometimes when we are beating ourselves up, we need to stop and say to that harassing voice inside, man, I'm doing the very best I can right now. Or woman, I'm doing the very best I can right now. And here's a journal prompt for you. What are the 3 top things my inner critic says to keep me in line? And what is it afraid of? Because your inner critic, it's trying to keep you safe. And sometimes the people that mean well around you, they're trying to keep you safe. Okay, now, another affirmation. I release my self-criticism and choose to love and approve myself as I am, and approve myself as I am. A new beginning starts anytime you decided to start. It's choice, not chance, that determines your destiny. You can make a decision today that you are going to draw a line in the sand and begin anew. The first step is to cast a kind glance over everything that brought you to this moment, and from there, start your new beginning. You carry judgment about yourself if you get caught up in critically thinking about your past, and every day you are given a brand new opportunity to start again. Claim this day, this moment, as the beginning of your new life because you decided. And if things are not going the way you're loving them to go, just use the phrase up until now. Up until now, it hasn't been working. Up until now, I wasn't successful at getting the career I wanted. Up until now, I haven't been able to communicate properly with my child. Up until now. Another essential question you need to ask yourself is, are you living your life by design or default? Are you on autopilot? And it's really important that you live your life with passion, purpose, and intention, because no matter what, the next 365 days are going to go by. So it's really important that you're an architect designing the path that you're leading. And all we have to do is decide what to do with the time that is given us. How will you choose to spend your time and live your dash? What do you have to do to get where you want to be? Clarity is power. So let's talk quickly about your career vision. Now, I want you to imagine that you're sitting in a rocking chair at 90 years old. It's a little while from now. Take a moment to imagine that you're 90 years old and sitting in your rocking chair and looking back over your ideal life. You are happy and healthy, and your career succeeded beyond your wildest dreams. Then answer the following questions. Remember, ask the right questions, get the right answers. And when you're aware, well, awareness is curative. What is it about you and your career that people value? What has your career achieved? What are you proud of? How has your career added meaning to your life and given you a sense of fulfillment? What difference has your career made in people's lives, in the local community, in the world? What are the best parts of your career? And what shows that your career has been a success? Remember, clarity is power. So what is great about your life, and how has your career helped you achieve your goals and dreams? And what can you see around you? What are you hearing, and what can you feel? It's really important that you 5-sensorize your vision. What's around you? What are you hearing? What food are you eating? What things are you touching and feeling? And what are you smelling? Okay, what will your life look like 1 year from now in May 2024 in the following areas? Again, this is a very holistic vision of your life: career and academics, time and money freedom, physical health, mental health, emotional health, spiritual health, relational health, family and friends, significant other, personal growth, learning and development, home environment, work environment. Do you feel comfortable in those places? And what are you doing for fun and leisure 1 year from now? Again, a lot of senses. I'm big with teaching and listening to music, meaningful music. So what favorite motivational music or songs are playing on the radio? And what is your theme song as your career has become all you dreamed it would? Some suggestions. Again, you don't have to like these, but these have worked for me. Don't Stop Believin', Life is a Highway, Sign of a Victory, 9 to 5. And there's a really cool, just chill work song called Shine. And again, more inspiration to pep yourself up. What is your personal or professional mantra or inspirational quote that helps keep you marching forth toward the direction of your ideal life, career, and vision? Some Walt Disney quotes for you. If you can dream it, you can do it. It's kind of fun to do the impossible. And the way to get started is to quit talking and just begin doing. Again, the holistic vision of your life. So don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive and go do that, because what the world needs is people who have come alive. So I'm giving you 30 seconds to actually just sit and think about what your life would be like in 1 year from now. And as a gift, everybody's getting all those questions in the journal page so you can spend some time on your own. And another gift that you're going to get is understanding the why of your goals to really make sure that you're going in the right direction for the right reasons. And also, I have recorded a class for you. It's a 3-month vision guide, and that's something that you can just find right on my LinkedIn profile that you can access. Or you can shoot me an email and I'm happy to send it to you. And that actually comes with a guided discovery 3-month vision worksheet. Again, clarity is power. Now, I'd like you to know that I spent the past almost 3 years researching and learning for the military community. And what you're going to see for the next minute or two is the MilSpouse Resource Gallery that I put together for you. And one of my favorite Ghostbusters quote is, if you have the tools, you have the talent. And Boots to Books is definitely at the forefront of, the charge for resources for the military community. So Boots to Books, Act Now Education, Vets to Industry, American Corporate Partners, Hire Heroes USA. And just so you know, I've compiled a resource guide for you with hot links. So there's a ton of information which you're going to be getting. I think it's already in the chat. There's also the USO Pathfinder Transition Program. Veterati is like on demand for military spouses. The Department of Labor has an incredible military spouse program, as does the Military Officers Association, which all ranks and branches can engage in. There's a veteran employment project through the military.com, and GI Jobs has an amazing mother of all transition guides. Boots to Books, as Peter said before, has an incredible free masterclass program that you can engage in, as well as they are the proud sponsor of Lessons Learned for Vets podcast with Lori Norris. And that, again, I've included everything in the resource guide, but it's, again, insider stories from people that have walked before you. Act Now Education always reminds me to tell you that you get a year free of LinkedIn Premium and LinkedIn Learning. So make sure you snatch that up. Also, Act Now Education, every Saturday at 1 p.m., they do orientations about certification programs that are offered and just tons and tons of resources. And actually, Peter showcased Boots to Books there a few months ago. Vets to Industry has free networking with a MilSpouse Mixer quarterly. And actually, the next MilSpouse Mixer is on Saturday, May 20th. And then ACP, American Corporate Partners, has a spouse program, so you can get mentored for a year. And then Hire Heroes USA, which I am also a volunteer for, so also has a program. Just so you know, the particular resources that I've curated are resources that I have my own pulse on personally, so that's why I'm sharing them with you. Again, USO, if you are somebody on active duty, your family's on active duty, first line of defense is USO Transitions, and they will guide you and help you create a plan. Veterati is like on-demand mentoring for about an hour sessions. Now, many people are not aware of the Department of Labor TEAMS, which is Transition Assistance for Military Spouses. They have on-demand workshops that you can engage in on your own schedule, multiple times during the week and weekends sometimes. So there's one, career credentials for military spouses, resume, marketing me, federal hiring, LinkedIn profiles, interview skills, salary negotiation, LinkedIn job search, flexible job options, and entrepreneurship. And again, there's just some more resources that you can take a look at in the resource guide that I put in the chat. I'm just going to wrap up quickly. Something else I just want to make you aware of is the Military Child Education Coalition. So I know many of you are parents and might have children. And again, there's a ton of resources that I included about, just how to help your child be successful. And also, lastly, there's the VA Mental Health mobile app library for you and your family. And again, we went through relaxation, success looks different, time management, career vision, and then the MilSpouse Resource Gallery. So my job is to encourage you and believe in you, even and especially when you don't believe in yourself. So please feel free to reach out anytime. And remember that just when the caterpillar thought the world was over, it became a butterfly. So don't give up before the miracle happens. You've got this. Thank you so much again, Peter, Boots to Books, Chamiria, and Tom, for your time, everybody in the audience, but especially thank you for your service. You really are the reason I am proud to be an American, as the Greenwood song would say. So I hope to see you again soon. So Peter, thank you so much.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks so much for coming on and sharing all those resources. I know for some, they may have wanted to get down some of those links, or they may have missed them. For all who came to this event, we'll make sure over this weekend that we send out all the resources mentioned. Don't worry about that. And Stacy, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Definitely. So now going forward, kind of speaking on what Stacy said, this is a good segue. There are two companies actually who came and wanted to share a little bit about some opportunities they have to offer to military spouses. And then we're going to kick it off to Brenna, and Tom will do another great introduction, I am sure. So first, Amanda, I want to kick it off to you to talk a little bit about Aptive Resources. I know you had said that they had given you some really great opportunities and that you wanted to share with the military spouses here what that looked like. So I'd love to give you a chance to share really quickly, and then I'll kick it off to Diana after.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here. So like I said, I work for Aptive Resources. We're a federal contractor based in DC. Sorry, I'm out walking my dogs for a minute. Based in DC, but I work kind of directly for the VA as part of their healthcare record modernization contract. And they have been super veteran and military spouse friendly. So far, I've been employed with them for about a little over 2 months now. And they have been absolutely fantastic to work for. They started up a Veterans Experience Council And they're going to even add military spouses into that now too, on my suggestion, which is fantastic since I wear both hats as a veteran and a spouse to someone that's still actively serving.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. And we'll have Tom, who's been diligent as ever, drop the link to Active Resources in the
Yeah.
chat. Amanda, if people have questions about it, they want to learn more, is it okay if they reach out to you on LinkedIn?
Absolutely, please do. I'm happy. We have so many job openings right now that are actually almost all remote except for a few. And I'm happy if somebody's looking for a job, whether you're a spouse, whether you're a veteran, whether you're neither of those, to connect, talk, and maybe make an internal referral and help somebody else get a job.
Amazing. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing and being willing to connect.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to help.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Sweet. Now, before we kick it off to Brenna to give you some advice for that application and some insights to maybe help you prepare, as well as maybe touch on some more opportunities, we have Diana, who's representing Talents Ascend, which is an amazing organization. They're using AI to remove biases from the hiring process. They've made some really awesome strides. So before I butcher all the great things they're doing, I'm just going to go ahead and kick it off to you, Diana. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm so glad I was able to come in. Like Peter said, I am with Talents Ascend. I am one of the relationship managers. Talents Ascend is a free AI-powered platform connecting employers to candidates nationwide. With our platform, there are no resumes, there's no applications, and no job boards for you to search through. Our AI system will auto-populate your skills based on your occupations and your education, or in any certifications you may have. And so you can tailor your profile with the skills that you want to use moving forward. We have reversed the hiring process with our platform. We don't scrape jobs off the internet. We partner with employers who submit their job profile and to match with candidates with the skills that they're looking for. So think of it like a dating site, but for employment. You know, you find your perfect match based on what you have to offer and what they're trying to find to match to their the job positions that they're trying to fill. So when that does happen, the employers will contact you directly for an interview. And we partner with employers all over the country. So there's opportunity for you to match to different types of jobs anywhere you want to go. So to learn more about Talents Ascend program, I did put my information into the chat so they can send it out to you. And we do walkthroughs twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays through Eventbrite. And I can put the link in there as well so that they can send that out to you. And that gives more information about how our platform works and a step-by-step guide on how to create your profile with some little tips and tricks on how to tailor it to just how perfectly you want to get it so you get the maximized efforts on how to get the most matches to employers.
Awesome. That's really cool. I mean, how kind of crazy is that? I somewhat try and keep up with technology and stuff, but it's really crazy seeing the new ways that things like AI are being applied, especially in the hiring process like that. And that's really cool, Diana. Yeah. And sorry, go ahead.
No, and I know some people are, kind of iffy with how like AI is coming about, because a lot of people are like, AI is trying to take over. But we just use it for the matching part, but there are still us human beings there. So if there are any questions or any problems, you do get to talk to a real human person. So we are here to help in case you do have any issues with your platform, with your profile, excuse me, or if you have any questions on how to do your profile, we are here to help. And I am a military spouse, so I have been there too. I recently moved back from overseas and I struggled with trying to find a job, so I've been there. And I'm also a military brat too. My dad was a Vietnam veteran, so yeah, I understand.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing a bit about Talents Ascend. I've been, watching the growth a little bit, talking to Bruce and the rest of the team there, and it's just been amazing seeing how much it's grown and the people it's been able to touch. So that's really amazing. So now, up next, to give you some insight onto the hiring process, onto standing out as a military spouse. And the other side of the desk, we have Brenna from Seven Eagle Group. Tom, I'm going to kick it off to you for a proper introduction that Brenna deserves for joining us on a Friday night. Thank you so much.
I feel like I need one of those microphones that hang down so I can do the announcement right. But So Brenna is a military spouse of 17 years. She has moved around the world working as both a government contractor and a civilian for the Department of Defense. She has a passion for connecting people with employment that will have a positive and lasting impact on their careers. Brenna has the ability to match a person, position, and company to ensure a perfect fit. When she isn't networking, you can find her spending her time with her husband and 4 kids at Disney World, reading, drinking a cup of coffee, or out for a long run. Take it from there, Brenna.
Well, thank you so much. This has been fantastic already. Stacy, I was definitely taking notes while you were speaking, and that whole idea of up until now is just fantastic. And I can't wait to do my 1 year, kind of where I want to be. And then Shamira, I love our conversations. We usually book like half an hour to talk to each other, and then an hour later, both of us have to go do something important. Peter, thanks for having me. Tom, thanks for keeping us on track. And Diana, I always love when we get to sit together on these things. So this is fantastic. So as a military spouse of 17 years and having seen that the transition of the way spouse employment has been accepted in our community, these events are definitely continuing that momentum forward. And I appreciate just everything that comes together to make this happen. Hopefully the next generation will, be a little bit further ahead than we are, right? At that 22% unemployment. So as a recruiter and overseeing, a team of recruiters, there's a lot of, I know, questions from those people out there. So if you do have questions, please send them to Tom. I'm not a fancy slideshow person, so I appreciate Stacy's mad skills in that. So please interrupt me if any questions do come in. Otherwise, I'll just, be really good at talking. So working, when you guys are applying for a job, there's kind of 2 different routes that you can go. You can, search Indeed, LinkedIn, all the different job sites, or you can work with recruiting firms, whether it is, AI generated, or the old school application form. It's all about making sure that you know what you've done in the past. So, have your transcripts, whether you're applying for USA Jobs, you always have to make sure you have all your transcripts ready to go so you can apply, and have your past jobs. So you're going to have your targeted resume and you're going to have your master resume. So your master resume is going to be a living, breathing document. Anytime you attend, a course, you get a new certification, you volunteer, you take on a job, you do something on the side as a side gig, you need to be continually updating that document. And even though once you do get a job and you're settled, you still need to continue every 6 months to do a resume review, make sure that master resume review, make sure that master resume is up to date. I'm old school. I like to print mine out every 6 months and put it in the freezer, just because I know that I'm never going to lose what is in my freezer. I recently deleted my master resume on accident. I copied over it. Luckily, I have a printed copy. I have another copy that I saved and emailed to myself. So I do that, but I also print it out. I like paper. I also like the highlighting method. So when you are applying for a job and you're trying to do that targeted resume, you get out highlighters and you take the job description of what you're applying for and you take your master resume and you want to start comparing your skill sets and seeing what you have. And that's going to help you build that targeted resume. So again, master resume is what I did on my summer vacation, everything that you've ever done. And that targeted resume is going to be working to solve the problem that the company has. A company only hires if they have a problem. So you need to find out what that problem is. You need to research the company on their website. You need to, search on social media, LinkedIn, find out what they're posting about, what their problems are, and then take that job description and see exactly what they're looking for. And so many times as military spouses and with transitioning service members, we say that we are pivoting into a career of XYZ. And in reality, if we look at what we do, there's no pivoting. We've already been doing that. We just don't know how to put it into words and almost, convince ourselves that we have been doing it. And if we tell other people and we explain it to them, they're going to say, yeah, you've been doing that for years. Like, you've been doing project management, you've been involved in technology. There's a lot of people who work in the med group there's a lot of spouses that do medical stuff with the military on the civilian side. And a lot of those systems are so dated that they've actually been entering types of code with DOS. So that is a huge skill set that they have technology wise. They just don't know how to capture it because so much we do in our everyday life is normal to us, but weird and exceptional to everybody else once we sit down and explain it. So if you're unsure about what your skill sets are, find out what your passions are. Military spouses are so capable of doing so many things that a lot of times we get pigeonholed and we get put into jobs that we're very capable of doing, but there's not that passion behind it. Believe it or not, I'm very introverted. I could just sit there with my cup of coffee all day, read a book and hang out by myself. But I'm very good at, I'm always doing public speaking and coaching and, leading development seminars. So people just automatically assume that I'm very, very extroverted, but I'm not. So that's also, you'll find out a lot of recruiters are secretly introverts. So if we text you, it's because we're introverted. And I don't know if Diana's introverted as well, but I totally am. So anyways, when somebody says, hey, can you drop me your resume? Drop your resume in our database. That database is going to want your master resume. So keyword searches are real. It's not a way for us to kick you out of a job. So when I get a job that I'm filling for, somebody has their master resume in our system, but they also will apply with a targeted resume. So I'm going to look at those a little bit differently, and the way that they show up in my system is going to be a little bit different. So that targeted resume will be very specific to that job again, right? Because you have the job description, you have your master resume, and you're targeting it. But for the ones that I source, so again, people will apply, and then I'll go in my system and I'll source things. And so that's where those various, what you've done on your summer vacation will pop up, and that will get you into my system. So make sure that you are including what technology you have skills with. If you've been working a register, a lot of us have done customer service jobs. Make sure that you're talking about front of house software. You're going to be talking about, help desks and tickets because you've had to solve issues for people. So make sure that you're, as you're updating your resume, you're also continuing to look at job descriptions just in general to find out what the new keywords are that people are putting into their resumes. So let's say that, I sorted through everything. I found a list of people that I'm going to interview. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give them all a phone call or email or text and try and get them on my Zoom or a phone call to compare their skill sets to the job description. And that's going to be the first way after conversation that we either send somebody to the next group or that we, say thank you. And we, hopefully can work with them again in the future. After that, there's going to be a series of interviews, and it could be anywhere between, usually we see between 1 and 3. And there's a lot of negative talk about the interview process, except all 3 interviews. So there's nothing wrong with interviewing with the company 3 times. It's not that they're indecisive, it's that you are having the opportunity to say yes or no. We can all meet one person that we really, really like. We can then have further conversations with the company. And after those multiple interviews, we might have liked that very first person we talked to, but there might be 5 people that you end up interacting with, whether it's walking through a hallway, whether it is hopping on the Zoom at the beginning of your interview while they're finishing up another meeting, and you might see how people interact. So every opportunity to interview is an opportunity for you to decide if that company culture is going to work for you or not. So you have just as many chances of saying no to them as they have to say no to you. So take every opportunity, meet as many people in the company. And before you say yes, you can most definitely ask, they're going to ask you for references. You can ask, I'd like to talk to somebody who, if you're going to be working, with graphic designers, you're going to be working with, HR or somebody in learning and development, ask to speak to people in those divisions. You want to talk to them and find out what the subcultures are within each division. So don't be afraid to ask for references as well. You can LinkedIn, everyone knows that on Facebook. So I use Facebook and LinkedIn kind of together sometimes, because on LinkedIn, if you look up somebody, they're going to see that you looked at their profile. So sometimes if I want to look somebody up, I go on Facebook first. see if I can find them on Facebook before I go LinkedIn stalk them where they get notified. So just kind of keep that in mind, but definitely look up people who work for the company, see what they are posting on social media, make sure they're not posting anything negative. And if they are, just kind of take that with a grain of salt, of course, but just digest it and see what's going to happen. Yeah, so you'll do the screening call, the interview, and then whether you get it or not, some recruiters will provide feedback and some will not. If they don't take it personally. Providing feedback in a positive way is a very special skill set, and people aren't necessarily trained to do that. So I don't provide feedback to everybody who applies to every job. I wish I could, but also I can't get personally invested in. I had one job that had 200 people apply. I can't reply to 200 people with a personal email about why they didn't get it. And sometimes it is just timing. If you look at a job posting, people who apply within the first 4 days tend to be the ones that get that interview and that job. So sometimes it's just a matter of I've already sent people to the client, they've already started interviews, and they say to just go ahead and put the job on hold. So I do. So it's just a timing issue. If anybody does want feedback, I'm happy to provide it. I'm just not necessarily able to provide critical feedback to everybody. And just like some people are trained to give interviews, some people are trained to give feedback, and it can really go either way. Let me just finish up. Yeah. Were there any questions, Tom? Because I can just roll and talk.
I've got two for you that I've been requested about 1,000 times among a lot of recruiter panels, but insight is always really welcome on these. So the first is for a candidate, let's say they're looking at 7 Eagle Group specifically, and they see something that really interests them. I guess two-part question. The first part is, do you recommend they connect with you on LinkedIn or some other way? And then if so, if you do recommend they connect with you, how would you recommend they do it? A note, hey, I'm interested in this position, here's why, or, what do you suggest?
Yeah, well, I'm a weirdo, Peter, and I let people call or text me. So my phone number is probably, everywhere, including bathroom stalls. So I would rather someone text me or call me because I really am not a fan of emails. 867-5409, right? So I would rather somebody just call me or text me and say, hey, I'm interested in this job. It's always good, though, to make sure that because applicant tracking systems do track things, that's their purpose. So if somebody does text me or call me, follow up with an email recapping what we said. And that way it gets in the system for everybody to see. And it also kind of pops your name up at the top of my list. But don't be afraid to connect multiple ways. Be the owner of your own destiny. If we are working, lots of jobs to get those filled with the right person, we might accidentally not get back to you. And it's not that we're ghosting you. Recruiters do not mean to ghost people. We just are one person with families working sometimes weird hours, just like I don't send out rejection emails at 10 o'clock at night so that you get them in the morning. It's because I'm literally working at 10 o'clock at night to get those emails out to you so that you at least get them. Yeah. What else you got for me, Peter?
I've got one more. That's really helpful. I mean, yeah, to give some context to that, if you're working, let's say one requisition, which is not the reality at all, and it gets 200 applications and it takes you a conservative estimate, 30 minutes per application, that is 100 hours to review, and that's reviewing. Yep. Not to mention, personable emails. And I mean, don't get me wrong, as much as we all want to do that, I'm sure there are probably 50 other requisitions coming in for you, and then you have, your whole team. And so it's, logistically impossible. And so I completely get that. And it's tough that misconception comes about. And it's good that we can have recruiter panels and kind of be transparent like that to dispel that. The second question is, and this is for folks who have both transitioned a while ago and are taking their MOS and trying to do something new. For those looking at making a career transition. So me, for example, I went from infantry to financial services, but anything of the sort of broad change like that. Do you have any kind of broad stroke recommendations for framing your past experience or trying to build new experience to make that transition?
Yes. So everybody has done what they want to do. You just a way of wording it that's going to get you where you need to go. But then also I tell military spouses, and the same thing for our active duty members, stop baking cookies. Like, congrats, military spouses. Yep, we bake some really killer cookies, but stop doing that. Say no to the little things that are not going to get you where you want to be, you know, May of next year, and start sitting on nonprofit boards. You gain so much experience from overseeing a large organization that is bringing in $10,000 to $100,000. That's where you're going to learn HR. You're going to learn social media. You're going to learn how to budget. You're going to learn how to work with a finance company, usually to oversee that. You're going to learn grant writing. You're going to learn how to, and this is a really big one for military. You're not an A1C overseeing $4 million of stuff. That's realistic in the military world, not in the civilian world. That does not translate. But you can oversee a fundraiser that brings in $30,000. That is very tangible for civilian company. And also there are stakeholders that you're going to have to interact with. So if you do something as a nonprofit board member, you're going to have to, speak to the community about it. You're going to have to speak to the companies or the organizations that you get grants from. You have to be accountable for every single thing you do, especially when you're refiling that 501 paperwork. So yes, we can bake cookies. We can make meals for new, families that have new babies. We can help out. We can do all the things, but we also need to do the things that are going to get us to the next place.
That's really helpful. Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. And I like that, you say that focus on the things that are going to get you where you want to be. I mean, that really ties into what Stacy was saying is, where are you going to be May of next year? It's not some predetermined fate. It's in your hands. Tom, do we have any other questions?
Not yet. We don't.
Okay, cool. Well, then
I
we
wanted
will-
to add one for you, because I know this is a question that it was even something that I came into because when I joined LinkedIn like a few years ago, I got 2 different sites on a recruiter. One was scary, and then one was not scary. So, Renee, can you put some light to some myths that people push out there on LinkedIn about recruiters and like how to avoid them? But I don't avoid them. Like, now that I understand, like, I think in the beginning people were like, you have to pay for them, and then like they're gonna only want to give you a job where you don't want to be because then they have to take some of your money. So can you put light to some of those myths? Because until I was like, let me just figure it out for myself, I avoided recruiters like COVID. So, and then it was not good, right? Because I was shooting myself in the foot. So please, could you do that?
I saw a quote today that I think summarizes that perfectly. When a tree falls, it makes a noise. So destruction is loud, but when a tree grows, it is quiet. So that growth and that positivity is very quiet. I have no goal in life to be big on LinkedIn. I visibly blush when people tag me in things because I'm not going to change everyone's life. I'm going to change a few people's lives. So really just target and make connections with lots of recruiters, but you'll start to learn the ones that have the same values that you do. Just see what they're posting, see who they're connected with, see what they're involved with otherwise. Some recruiters are really good at throwing spaghetti at the wall, hoping something hits, and they can make lots and lots of money. I'm a lot more personal and kind of boutique in my approach. And I get very good at being the extension of a company and recruiting to make sure that it fits their culture. So for a recruiter, if they have too many accounts, it can get very difficult. Some people are very good at handling a lot though. So again, don't get me wrong. There's some recruiters that can do everything, and I'm in all of those, but it's really just if somebody's pushing something and it seems sketchy, just trust your gut, be your own best advocate, and ask for references. Ask your friends who they've used. Most recruiters are not going to charge the talent. It's the company that is looking for a recruiter to have a special skill set. So for HR, somebody who is an HR generalist does not have that talent acquisition knowledge. That is not something that is taught. So I have a master's in admin and HR. We were not taught how to go out and seek out talent. We were taught how to do the paperwork, how to onboard, how to offboard, how to do, packages as far as offers and, everything that goes with developing people. That is what we learn in HR. We don't learn how to go out and find the person that's going to fit the position purposefully, that's going to grow. So we don't just put somebody in a job that's going to be there for now. And that a good recruiter doesn't just fill it for now position. A good recruiter is filling somebody who's going to be there 5 years from now and that's going to grow in that position. So TA is just a very weird, it's like I've been married for 18 years. I'm not going to match my friends with, a new husband or wife, but I will match someone to a job. It's fun.
Really helpful. Yeah, I appreciate that. It's always really nice to get insights from a recruiter, especially when it's that candid and you are transparent. Because seeing, I think, the other side of the hiring process makes it so much less intimidating. So I remember when I first got out of the military, I was applying to all these roles, and it felt like I was almost putting applications into a black hole. And at some point, an email might come out where I'd get an interview, but who really knew? And I didn't really understand how it all worked. I didn't especially think of framing it as far as a company's hiring because they have a problem. They need somebody to come in and fix that. And so you need to be the individual who's competent in the skills they need.
Yeah. Oh, the easy apply is the new junk dial. So if the button has an easy apply, go ahead and apply to their website like directly, or find out what recruiter has that job or has that under their belt, and then apply to them. Because seriously, like, we've all got drunk, called some people, looked at car prices, look at new insurance quotes, applied for jobs. But we are on vacation at Jekyll Island, so I'm gonna go let my husband and kids into the hotel room. So I'm gonna head out. But this has been fantastic. Please connect with me on LinkedIn, everybody. And if there's any questions, you guys are more than welcome to, text me or call me or send me a LinkedIn message.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining, especially on vacation. I mean, I'm blown away that you would be so kind to give us some of your time. So I really, really appreciate it. And I'll definitely be in touch again. It was really insightful.
Awesome. Thank you so much, you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
And Stacey, thank you as well. I 100% appreciate you coming in on a Friday night. That is not an easy time, so thank you. So now the last little part of the event, Tom, I do not need a fancy intro. I will do a very informal one. Will be a little bit about entrepreneurship for those who are looking at starting their own venture, wanting to hear a little more about kind of my journey on the Boots to Book side, and then also helping some for-profit organizations. So any questions you have, feel free to drop them in the chat or ask Tom. Hopefully Tom will drop my LinkedIn as well. If you have questions you'd rather ask one-on-one, my inbox is always open. So first, Brenna said something really interesting, and that's, if you're looking for experience, especially a way to translate from being, serving in the military or being in the military community, doing something that people can understand, that nonprofit boards is a great way to do that. That is another really good thing to do that was actually suggested to me by Paul Lawrence the other day, is government boards. And so your municipality, wherever you are, your state, even the federal government, has a lot of boards, and often they go unfilled. So economic development councils, military spouse councils, all these different things you can get involved with. So if you're into kind of policy and advocacy, or you just want to build experience managing a program, that's a really good way to do it. And a lot of the public sector jobs will give a real preference for those in the military community. But going into the entrepreneurship side of things, I am going to break it down into kind of 5 pieces. First is the idea formation. The second is actually trying to go and execute on that idea. Third is raising money. The fourth is going to be forming programs. And the fifth is going to be kind of a holistic thing. So maybe 4. But I want to talk, and I'm going to try and split for-profit and nonprofit to give a little bit of both, and then questions are welcome. So first thing is the idea formation. So I've talked to a lot of people who have either a great idea for a business or a great idea for a nonprofit, much like I did a long time ago. At least I thought I did. It's, we'll see how everybody else thinks about it. But so you have your idea, and you sit down and you're, thinking of creating this business that does X, Y, or Z. The first thing that we want to encourage every single person to do is go do market research. right? And so this doesn't mean your initial, ask your friends like, hey, have you ever heard of a company that lets you call a cab from your phone and then track it and you don't have to exchange cash? You're just paying with your debit card in your account. And everybody's like, no, I've never heard of that. And then, had you gone on and done a little research, you would have found Uber, Lyft, X, Y, and Z, right? All these companies that create a really hard industry to go and enter. There's super high barriers to entry. So the first thing you do is when you make this idea, go do research. If you're on the for-profit side, it might be that there's already companies that are doing this, but you could still enter the industry in a different way. So let's look at like Blacklane, right? They're also an Uber alternative, but they're not calling Uber X's, they're calling town cars and limos. So they cater to the high-end client. They entered the market later than Uber, but they still took market share because they did something different. So on the for-profit side, when you look at starting a business, you have your idea, do your market research and see, is this a super crowded space? If it is, are they a bunch of established companies to where like I'm gonna have a really hard time taking business from them? For instance, do you want to start an online file storage system and like compete with OneDrive and Google Drive? Like probably not, right? So do your research and then look at, okay, is there ways that I can compete with that or specialize or differentiate? Or if it's the nonprofit side, if it's an issue you're really passionate about, almost every nonprofit I've ever met needs help in some way. So it'd be too easy to reach out and say, hey, I had this idea and this is, why I'm reaching out to you. You're doing this in this space. Can I get involved? At the same time, if you think that there's a way you can do it that's more efficient, different, I very much encourage you to go launch it yourself. But the most important thing is you do your research. So at a minimum, you'll find companies that you want to work with, and you can get an idea for the space. Going forward, when you're actually going to start the company, a lot of folks have got the desire, I think, to leave their job, especially during COVID and after COVID, to leave a full-time role and pursue entrepreneurship. And I don't at all want to bag on that idea. What I would encourage is if you have the opportunity and the time to start your business, try and at least get a minimum viable product to market. So get something up for sale and start getting feedback on it before you think about leaving your job or risking your financial stability, anything like that. Because the best way, I mean, Boots to Bucks is a great example of this. When we started, we had a really big focus on cybersecurity. We weren't doing hiring fairs or scholarships were a small part of what we did, and that completely changed as we grew. We realized that people really like scholarships and that hiring fairs are actually probably our best opportunity to make an impact. And so our programs changed as people responded to them, but you can't get that feedback if you don't ever launch it. And had, people said, this isn't that great. There's all these other programs we'd rather use. And we realized like, okay, maybe our time would be better spent fundraising for another nonprofit. We'd have a bigger impact. On the for-profit side, right, you still need to have that same thing. If you launch a product or a service, if you put it in the market, you'll have an opportunity to say, are people actually buying this? And if you can do that while you still have a job, you have a little more stability, you can relax, you can refine the idea more. And so that's the biggest encouragement is try and stay at your job and at least get a little bit of feedback from the market while you're starting your business. Next is raising money. So once again, two sides of it. First is the nonprofit side. So starting a nonprofit and raising money is really, really difficult, especially because the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to have to form the organization, right? So you form your corporation or your partnership or unincorporated organization, whatever business type you choose. You have to incorporate federally, get an EIN and form your business type, and then incorporate in the state and register with your state. Once you've done all that, you can apply to the IRS for 501c3 tax exempt status. However, that application, even if you do the expedited one, Form 1023-EZ, can take 3 months. And so those startup costs and T plus 3 months is not tax exempt fundraising. You are not a nonprofit, you've applied, but you haven't received the status yet. And so when you go reach out to donors, they can't write those donations off. You might still get some support, but you're not going to get big grants. They're not going to give it to a pending 501c3. You're not really going to get all that big of donations. You might get individual, small contributions. And so as you're starting your nonprofit, that's the first thing is getting your tax exempt status is a hurdle, right? You can clear that. You can do a Kickstarter campaign. You can fund it yourself and try and stay really lean. That's what we did. But once you get past that and you get that 501c3 status, you can start looking at fundraising. Once again, you kind of find yourself in a conundrum, and that is you need money to have an impact and you need to have an impact to raise money. When you're going out to fund or the foundations, you're looking to get grants, you're talking to companies, even individuals who are going to make large donations. They want to know, this is what your money's going to do. In the past, we've had this hiring fair and this many people have gotten offers, or we've had this event with this many people there. And that's really hard to do if you're trying to host your first events or put on your first program. And so focusing on the really low cost, high impact programs. So whether that's a webinar like this that costs, a Zoom premium account, or you're doing a workshop in person at a local YMCA that's going to let you use their space. There's things you can do to have an impact immediately to then go fundraise with. So that's the nonprofit side. There are a couple of chasms you cross. The first is becoming a nonprofit. The second is actually raising enough money to host good programs. The third is hiring someone, and then it continues from there. On the for-profit side, that is a little bit different. The reason is you're no longer offering people, the moral satisfaction that comes with supporting a nonprofit or a tax write-off. You're offering them the potential for profit if they're investing in your business or you're selling them a service. And so there's a couple of ways you can try to raise money initially. So there's all these online tools like Kickstarter. I think there's like 5 or 6 kind of Kickstarter variations now, but the goal is crowdfunding. So you can post your business, your idea, what your initial product or service is going to be, and you can sell them before you actually have them made to try and raise money to launch a product. It's one idea. You can also try and raise money from angel investors, which is going to be a little more difficult and require you to actually do a lot of research and have a pitch for them that they can bite on. That'll probably be your hardest option. And then the last is bootstrapping it or raising money from friends and family. But on the for-profit side, it's at least, I don't want to say easier initially, but it's different. You are pitching a much different idea, but there's a lot of things you can do to make it easier. So some of the really common issues people run into when they're raising money initially are disagreements about how much the company's worth. That's probably one of the biggest ones. And so if you're a founder of a company and you are trying to raise money from somebody and you prescribe that your company is worth $100,000, there is a 990% chance that they're going to say it is less than that. And so one of the really big things, especially for young companies that don't have cash flows yet, is what's the value of the company? And you, the founder, have a lot of faith in it, whereas somebody with a more pessimistic eye, especially in kind of a high rate environment that we're in right now, isn't going to do that. And so there's things like earnouts and other provisions that you can put in contracts to kind of bridge that gap so that you can get, the perfect valuation once you hit a certain earning number or whatever it may be, but you can set provisions to fix that. Raising money is likely the hardest part though. So best of luck. It is, especially in the nonprofit world, it's a constant battle. It's going well and you raise money, but it's something that you always kind of have to keep your foot on the gas with. So that's a word of caution for those going in the nonprofit world. If you don't love doing development or trying to go and do outreach and you don't have somebody who might be willing to do that, it can be difficult, not impossible. Next is forming programs. And so this is one of the more fun parts, in my opinion, because it kind of seems like a puzzle. And so this is really where you're looking at what your problem is. So why did you start either your business or your nonprofit, right? And so for Boots to Books, we started it to help veterans and their families get the best education and employment opportunities possible. And so initially we were hosting live events and doing some scholarships, and that helped. People were learning about the resume and the interview, and a couple of people were getting to get certified and things. But as we progressed, that completely changed, right? And so now it's more of a system to where we have these live events, scholarship opportunities, and they all lead into hiring fairs. So we want people to get extremely prepared and then go get hired. And so something we've realized really through that is that you need to backwards plan off what your issue is, right? And so if your issue is you're seeing super high unemployment rates in the military community or underemployment rates, how are you going to fix that? Okay, well, what are the issues here? Okay, we're seeing people have a difficulty translating. We're seeing these recruiters are having a hard time accessing the community. Okay, we're seeing people can't afford these certifications. Okay, how can you seek to quell each of those issues? And then it seems a lot more understandable than just looking at it from what is happening in the military community. So hopefully that helps a little bit. And now kind of the last one is to try and be a realist with yourself. It's super easy to get both overly optimistic and overly pessimistic when you're starting a business. In Boots to Books' history, we have both grossly overestimated how much money we will raise and grossly underestimated in the same year. So it is completely possible, and it is 100% going to happen. I would say be as prudent as you possibly can. Always expect to spend more than you do and set aside money just in case. Have as much runway as possible. But really, when you're making an idea, to try and think about it in both a quantitative and a qualitative way. And so think, if you're launching a for-profit business, right, find out what your break even is going to be. Okay, so if you're launching, you're launching a lemonade stand, to make it the easiest possible example ever. And please don't take that as demeaning. I just don't think I have the intellectual capacity to give a more intricate example. You're launching a lemonade stand. Okay, so you need the stand itself, you need the lemonade, you need cups, maybe we'll do cookies and we'll do plates. That all costs $50. Okay, you realize that. And now you think, okay, well, I sell lemonade for 50 cents a cup. And I sell, cookies for $1 a cookie. Okay, and so how many lemonades or cookies do I need to sell to break even? Okay, if I need to sell, let's just say 50 lemonades, we'll just talk about that one thing. Okay, if I sell one an hour, well, how long am I gonna have to be out there? And this isn't, you don't have to kind of specifically look at hours spent or et cetera, but look at the realistic, the reality of your business. How realistic is this plan? What are the odds that you're actually gonna turn a profit? What's a way that you can at least test this before going in too deep? All of these questions you can try and answer by just putting numbers on a piece of paper and trying to walk through it as logically as possible. And then once you do that, give it to one of your friends. Talk to Tom, talk to me, talk to Shamir, talk to any of us, and ask somebody for advice and feedback on it, because that's what we've done 100 times and it's been really, really, really beneficial. And then look at it qualitatively. What makes you different as a brand, as a group of people, and it's the services you provide, right? Boots to Books really tries to focus on 2 words: personable and accessible. We want to be super accessible and be friendly. We don't want to be 101 forms you have to fill out. We want to be able to talk to you and answer questions and kind of have fun in our events. But think about what that means to you. What are a couple words that are going to drive what you're delivering? And that is really all I have before I yap your ears off too much. I would say the best advice I have is just to do it. Nobody who has started a business, at least that's a lot of people who have started businesses have done it without being the archetype founder. There are so many people who don't have an MBA, don't have a JD, haven't been an executive in a company before, but started a company, whether it be a nonprofit or a for-profit, and it worked out tremendously. The best way to learn is by doing. You will likely make 101 mistakes, but none of them are permanent. If you want to really just go and do something and you start doing it, you will find and kind of fumble your way through it and it will work out. And eventually you will learn and be like, wow, somehow now everything is kind of moving seamlessly. And that's what happened to Aubrey and I. I mean, if you look at my LinkedIn that Tom sent in the chat, or Aubrey's, who's the co-founder, neither of us were, had any real specialized experience to be nonprofit founders. It was a very steep learning curve. And we, got help from a CPA and a lawyer and have an accountant, but it's very doable. And there's a lot of resources to help you. I had James Corbett and Eric Brew. Eric Brew is at American Corporate Partners. James Corbett is at Project Refit. We're both kind enough to take my call and give me advice when I was first starting, and it helped me a lot. Okay, so now I'm done talking people's ears off. Boom. And is Tom being compared to AI in our chat right now? So we have a host of chat right now. And as you've seen, Tom has been dropping links in the chat throughout the event in about he
is not real. He is not real.
I just keep going, Tom, drop this link because it's already in the chat. He reads my mind.
He's like Alexa and Google.
Yeah, now somebody has called Tom. Oh, Tom actually labeled himself Tom GPT Plus. So there we go. But okay, I'm done talking your ears off. Something I want to offer before I do a last call for questions. If any of you have them, shoot them to Tom. But one thing I want to offer is if there's anyone on this call who's interested in either a Lean Six Sigma Green Belt or a certified project officer certification, shoot an email to info@boots2books.com. I'm sure Tom will drop it in the chat. Shoot an email over. Just let us know why you want that certification, how it aligns with your career goals. And we're going to certify 2 people going out of this event because you were all kind enough to come and listen to me babble for the last 20 minutes. But we also had some really great speakers. But that is all that we have. Please make sure, if you haven't, to sign up for the Boots to Books Transition Masterclass. Connect with Stacy, Diana, and Brenna. They're all doing amazing things, each in their own right, for the military community. So connecting with each of them gives you a little bit of each of those great things. I'm sure their LinkedIns have been dropped in the chat. If they haven't, we will have a follow-up email going out no later than Monday morning with all of these great links for you, including the link to join Talents Ascend, the link to all the great stuff Stacy sent, to Seven Eagle Group, to all the LinkedIns. Mary Jackson, Tom, can you or Mary, if you have a question, Tom will put an email in the chat right now if you want to just shoot over that question. And we will wait a few seconds, but I will drop the email in the chat once more. It is info@boots2books.com. Oh, that's host and panelists. Tom, if you could put that to everyone. So the email's coming again. Mary, I see your question and I'm hoping that you're sending it to Tom as we speak. If you're not, Mary or Kara, who both raised their hands, you're welcome to hop off. Or if you want to listen to questions, Kara, please shoot it over to Tom right now to that email provided, and we will get right on it. But otherwise, also, Stacy and Diana, thanks so much for joining us on a Friday night. I don't know if you're on the East Coast. I'm on the West Coast. It's only 5 for me, but if you're on the East Coast, I am so sorry that you're on here at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock. Oh my gosh. Thank you.
I'm
Okay, you
actually
wanna let
in
them
Mexico,
speak?
so I'm good.
We're jealous.
Amazing.
Peter, can I, sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, no, I just wanted to, well, I am East Coast, but that's not what I was going to say. It's just about the whole business thing. And it's really important about knowing what your why is. And I know for me, my why is the military community. And Eric Brew, who you just mentioned a second ago, said to me very early on in this, Stacy, I'm losing more of my brothers and sisters to their own hand than we are to combat. What can you do about it? Because I know you can do something about it. And on my days that I'm exhausted and I'm tired or pulling all-nighters or feeling defeated, I just know that Eric, is, and you collectively, the military community is on the other side, so it's really important that as you go into anything, your why is what's pulling you forward. So just wanted to throw that in there.
I completely agree. Okay, it looks like the hands are down, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. But if you have any questions and okay, Kara, I'm going to promote you to a panelist and you can ask your question. You almost have just Kara, how's it going?
Hey, good. Sorry, I just emailed that question. I don't know if Tom got it or not.
No worries. You want to just go ahead and ask it?
Yeah, my question was, could you just repeat what the certifications were that you were talking about?
Yeah, definitely. So one is a certified project officer certification. It's from DOL Coach. It's kind of a project management fundamentals cert. It's online, self-paced. The second is a Lean Six Sigma Green Belt, also online and self-paced, and both completely paid for by Boots to Books.
Awesome, thanks.
Yeah, thank you for coming. Sweet. And that will actually wrap it up. Once again, thank you guys so much for coming on and speaking. I really appreciate it. Shamiria, amazing job planning the event. You have been absolutely killing it. Thank you so much. And I hope everyone has an amazing weekend. Thanks guys so much.